Hi, my name is Remy. I'm the chef from my restaurant in Caversham, and I'm going to make a Welsh mushroom soup for you today. First stage of the recipe today is I've got some lovely shallots here, and I'm going to chop them up and sweat them down into one of those pans. Right, so I've sliced the shallots. Now I'm going to put some olive oil into a pan, get it hot, and then put the shallots in. Sweat it down for a few minutes. Alright, so my shallots are sweated down. Now I've got some lovely cleaned Welsh mussels, which I'm going to add to the pan on a high heat. Should be sizzling. Halfway through the cooking of the mussel, I'm just going to add some bitter. In that case, it's just a fresh spiced beer. You add some mushroom to it and give some flavour to the actual mussels. Just half of a bottle should be enough. Put the lid back on, finish off cooking. Mussels are cooked. One way of seeing how mussels are cooked is to see them wide open. And that tells you that it's a nice mussel, nice and fresh. So what you do, you just want to keep that liquor, the cooking liquor, from the mussels and the bitter, but you just drain them into either a colander or, like me, a sieve, whereas that tissue there was called muslin, but you can use like a cloth at home, just to make sure there's no impurity. Like the mussels are living in the sea and they open and close, so they swallow a lot of grit and dirt. Even if they've been washed, you can't wash the inside, so you need to make sure you pass it through a cloth so you get all the impurities out of the actual jus, liquor. Otherwise you're going to have a sandy, gritty taste in the actual finished sauce. Now what I'm going to do is, to make the soup by myself, I'm going to pick the mussel out of their shell and reserve it into another pan. Get rid of the actual shell, because there's no need for that. I've got the liquor of the mussels, so I'm going to reduce that down a little bit by maybe a third. And after that, what I'm going to do is I've got a nice fish velouté here into the bottle that's been made previously this morning. So velouté is just a fish stock reduced with some double cream. Now, a lot of people use a roux, which is like a butter and flour to thicken it. I don't. Okay, I'll just reduce my cream to like almost like a nice thick cream. And that's it. I don't use any flour or butter to it. Just keep it as plain as possible. It's got enough flavour to it. And my thickening agent is going to be bread at the end of the recipe, which you shall see a bit later. So into the soup, I've just added diced bread. It's a gluten-free one. It's made with buckwheat flour. A squeeze of lemon juice and just a couple of pinch of salt for seasoning purposes. Right, so now I'm just going to use a big stick blender. Obviously you've got a smaller one at home, but this is what we use in the kitchen here. Just to make the soup smooth a little bit. Next stage, if your soup is a little bit too thick, what you can do is just to add a little bit of milk, as I'm going to do now. What I'm going to do now is just test the soup to see how thick it is, and also about the seasoning. Just rectify the seasoning if it needs to be. In that case, we just need a little bit. So it's salt and white pepper mixed together, which I'm going to add. And the last blast, just to make sure it's all dissolved and not over seasoned. Right now I'm just going to put the soup into a cup, and that's how we serve it in a restaurant, but we will add to it just a little drizzle of olive oil and serve with a nice slice of warm bread made on the premises as well. And there you have it, you nice Welsh mussel soup.